Come on. I've been so lonely, girl. I've been so sad and down. Couldn't understand why haters joked around. I wanted to be free with other creatures like me, and now I got my wish. Cause I know that I'm a gay.
First time in 2015, 2016. Fuck you, Craig, and I'm tired of talking.
She does that so
She didn't even miss a beat.
She just kept going.
Never miss. She never missed.
Yo, that was so gangster right there.
Thank you. Anyway, point is that I have been over every inch of this discourse. I have participated in it. I have cried. I have served my time, and now I just want to enjoy this fucking music.
I have served my time.
12 years.
I'm new to all of this. I'm new to all of this, and I've known people that have really, and people of color too, that have loved this shit. And you know, I'm not taking anything away from them at all, because they and I watched it. I eventually did finish it, and it's not bad. It's not like I've seen a lot of musicals either. So you know, please take what I say for the grain that it is. But it's not bad. Like it's pretty good, and it's interesting. It forces maybe some people to look into the real history, like many other different types of histories or different iterations of history do. Is it forces you to actually look into things that you probably wouldn't have looked into at all.
That's the problem, actually. I think the problem is that, like, especially like in 2015 when it first dropped, is like the generation that it was introduced to was really fucking stupid, and they didn't actually look into it.
They just enjoyed the music.
Fathers, yeah, they just enjoyed it. That's why, like, the criticisms and the conversations that we're having are very important to have. I'm noticing that, like.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, we're having the discussion. Let me just do the intro and get us started.
Okay.
So I was gonna wait for Elle, but we haven't got a hold of her. And since and Jasmine's telling me no, but I'm gonna do. We gonna do it anyway, and we'll bring in Elle's point of view later on both of these subjects. But not only are we going, also that's the third week we're talking about. So the three things on the docket for this evening, and we can elaborate on other things. So, but the first thing is Kanye for president. The second thing is going to be JK Rowling and her dumbass.
She's canceled, dog. People are mad too because they're like, "But I love Harry Potter." Like, she's gone. I'm sorry. I lost childhood friends over this.
I can say I love Harry Potter, and yet she's still canceled. I haven't read it in a while, but she's still canceled.
If I can't listen to Ignition anymore, you don't get Harry Potter anymore.
Hey, wait, okay, hold on.
I'm sorry.
That's different.
I'm gonna need you to repeat that joke when we're on the air, please. I'm gonna need you to repeat that joke when we're on the air. Anyway,
that's different.
Wait a minute.
The third thing we will wrap up the show with is the discussion over Hamilton that we started over the weekend. All right, everyone compose yourselves. Travis, rephrase that joke during the discussion. 5, 4, 3,
Coming for you, Travis.
2, 1.
RuPaul's ass 2.
Wait, hold on.
What?
No, that's about that. Don't even get me started.
Please help.
Rewind. Everyone's been talking about why Mama Rue deleted all over Twitter and Instagram. What happened? I don't know what's happening.
Hey, send help.
What happened to RuPaul and then him already having transphobe problems in the past, but he's gotten over that? Like, what happened now?
He has not gotten over that.
Exactly that.
Okay, well, he's gotten better about it. Like, because he's come out and apologized. Oh, it got worse?
I don't trust him.
It got worse? Like what happened recently?
What is happening?
I happen to remember that a certain issue last year when his stupid Netflix show came out, and that did not indicate anything about him getting better about being transphobic. So I'm not going to talk about it. I don't like it.
Okay, well, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is going on, good people of the internet? It is time for On Comics Grounds, best show, But you know what? Let's not do that. I'm gonna redo that. As much as I love doing it.
Alright.
What is going on, good people of the internet? It is time once again, for us to come together as African American nerds, as Black nerds, as blerds, whatever you want to call us. We are here once again for this show we like to call Blerd Grounds, where we as Black nerds come together and talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about, because right now the world's a shit show, but we gonna talk about shit anyway. That's a great way to intro that show, but you know, I don't care. After last week's amazing episode that has now become our most listened to episode of all time, shout out to Devin Mack and Dee Redmond for coming on the show and hanging out with us. We are getting back into the swing of things. We were supposed to have a guest this week, but she will have to reschedule after having some things that came up, but we will have her back soon. We love you, Elle. We'll see you soon. But in general, we will be getting into a few different things this evening. Don't forget that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Blerd Grounds. You can check us out on the website On Comics Ground on Twitter and Instagram at On Comics Ground. And you can check out the website On Comics Ground. That's on-comics-ground.com, where you can check out all of our reviews, previews, and solicitations of your favorite comic books and all kinds of nerdy goodness. Now, to my left, we have Mr. Afro Baggins himself, who gets a high five from me because we both cleaned our houses today, and we are kicking ass. Mr. Travis Tucker, how you doing today?
Baffled at admiration for regular adult things, but I'm here for it.
Hey, man, life is hard right now. We're still under quarantine. Florida's at 5,000 new cases of coronavirus. I almost got coronavirus because somebody at my roommate's job got it, but thankfully he hadn't been in contact with them in a while. But he's on quarantine right now from the job. Like, the job literally said, "Here, have some vacation money, go away. Like, we're gonna clean shit up." But thankfully I'm safe. But in general, the world's still kind of quarantined, so it's good that like mental health has allowed you to clean your house.
True.
Next to him, we have the lovely, the amazing, the tired Miss Jasmine. How are you doing this evening?
I'm very tired. How are you?
I am great. How other than being tired, how are you doing?
Oh, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I've been feeling incredibly discouraged about the state of the world lately, so I've been kind of burying my head in like books and my own writing, trying to ignore it because everything is making me sad right now. So.
Hey, you valid, but like we're glad you're here.
Thanks.
Indeed.
Scooby Doo teams up with Elvira. Oh hell no. Hey, I look at my phone for 2 seconds just because I got a notification from Twitter, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing it today. Nice. Speaking of Mr. Rutro, we have the man who is criticizing us for complaining that we're 24-year-olds. But Dr. Aaron Jones, how are you doing, old man?
I admire your youth. That's what I'm saying is that
I'm actually still 23, so
okay, you're younger, dude. Way younger. Okay. So yeah, I'm all right, you know. I had a very relaxing weekend, and this is probably the best Monday I've had in a little while.
Why is that? What's been going
on? A lot of transition. I'm super busy, but I wasn't as busy today, and
that's good.
I did a whole lot of nothing this weekend. Whole lot of nothing.
All right, and then next to him, we have the man who forgot we had a show tonight, even though I reminded him earlier today, like 3 hours ago. Mr. Andre Drew, how are you doing today?
I'm fine. You know I'm a forgetful person anyway. I don't know why you're still surprised at this.
I deadass expected you to say that you feel attacked.
I do still feel attacked, though. You always attack me with physical violence when I forget things. We're going to have a conversation about that.
Anyway, it's always hypothetical because it's funny. Yeah, just beat it with a stick. It's all right. Okay. Well, Aaron, I hate you. Up in the Discord chat.
That's literally what he's trying to do. Literally what he's doing. He threatens me with violence, and then he's just like,
So I have claimed the position of the gift provider in our chat on Discord while we do the show, and yeah, you just threw him all the way under the bus.
Oh my god,
He does that a lot.
All right.
Oh my god.
I've been doing that for years.
In terms of how I'm doing all right. I went camping this weekend. There's that old myth that black people shouldn't go camping, but ironically enough, I saw some black families there, and then it was so funny as I went.
Who says that?
A lot of people say that shit.
I said it. I used to say it.
See, I know I wasn't the only one. I used to say it too, and then I finally did it and actually had some fun. But I saw some black families there, and then when I went to the gas station to grab myself a disposable vape because I wasn't taking my tank in the woods. Fuck that. And I go in there to grab a vape and get some gas before we hit the road. And I was talking to this old man, Saudi Arabian dude who works at the counter because I love him. He's awesome. And then the sister walks in behind me as I'm telling him, there's that old myth that black people don't go camping. And she gives me the biggest stank eye. And I'm like, honey, I know there's a lot of controversy in the world right now, but I'm black, you're black. It was a joke. And she was like, oh, okay, you're light-skinned. I'm like, yeah. And it was like, literally, she said this to me, and I was dying.
Wait a minute, let me look at you a little harder. Okay, yeah. You in.
Like,
you cool.
You can say that. It's fine.
Yeah, like, it was one of the things, and it was comical. But no, okay. So, first thing on the docket for the evening. We were only supposed to have one topic, but then things kept arising, and then I kind of, like, pulled one topic in by association, but just because I needed to bitch about it. But the first thing on our docket that just kind of came up as of this weekend that I'm really confused about, I don't understand why it's a thing, is that Mr. Fishsticks himself, fresh off of South Park, Kanye West decided to pull... Did you like that reference?
I'm a genius, motherfucking wordsmith!
Mr. Gayfish himself, Kanye West decided to announce that he is going to run for president.
Just kidding.
And I don't know about y'all, but I haven't fucked with Kanye in a hot minute. I took every song off of that Kanye is associated with off my Spotify playlist, except for the Kid Cudi song that he is on. Like, only because I felt like Kid Cudi and Common and Lady Gaga kind of like overruled Kanye in terms of like, hey, you exist. But like, in terms of him, the minute he said the whole slavery was a choice, I was done. I didn't care about his like Christian revival that he had, where he wanted to say Jesus is the reason for the season. Like me and Andre were back in gospel choir. Like he like that was an inside joke. But like in general, I don't understand. And I haven't even, Aaron, I love you, but I haven't seen a single thing about this other than he's running against Trump and Biden. And I'm like, cool, you got the money to do it because you got the Illuminati behind you. But like, in general,
Elon Musk.
Yeah, apparently Elon Musk has endorsed him as president.
I'm so tired.
He said, like, "I got you. You got my support." I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, of all people, Elon Musk, and I'm like, Elon Musk, you've been canceled and done with for a minute. Like,
you mean the same Elon that's like the new East Indian Trading Company, but for space?
Yeah, like he's already in the shithole for trying to take jobs away from Californians. So like, he's already in the doghouse there. But like, in general, Kanye, you have enough money. Why are you trying to be president?
It's not about the money. It's about his fucking ego.
Like,
next album.
like you just like funny. It's funny because it's ridiculous, but it's not funny because it means we're gonna lose.
Yes.
I'm so tired. As soon as it happened, I just like put my phone away. I was like, I give up. It's just gonna get.
He's gonna Ralph Nader us. He's gonna Ralph Nader us.
He's gonna do the VMAs all over again, straight up.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna let you finish, Biden, but
I have the best presidential speeches of all time.
Oh my gosh.
Who do you think you are? I just told you. Oh God.
And the thing is, like, I was going to leave this as my final point, but I had to get it off my chest now. I saw a Twitter post the other day that was like, not voting is a vote for Trump. Voting for an independent is a vote for Trump. Not sharing anything at all is a vote for Trump. Like, vote for Biden. And I'm like, to a certain extent, in regards to this, they have a point. Because, like, imagine all of the black folks that are just going to see Kanye, or like the younger black folks that are just going to see Kanye and be like, Kanye, I'll vote for Kanye. Or like, oh yeah, he's deep. He cares about our culture. He believes in Jesus, or supposedly. I'll support him. That's thousands upon thousands of votes just out the window, and then Trump gets it on top of the problems we already have with Biden. Like Biden's like a sexual harasser, assaultist, whatever the fuck. Like on top of all that, like he's kind of racist because the shit he said to Charlemagne. Like in general, Biden's already racist. I'm being generous, but like. Right. In general, Biden's already a problem enough to the point that we have to rally behind him to get away from Trump. For Kanye to put his foot up on the table, it's like, now you're just causing more problems.
Yeah, like here's the other thing. Imagine if Kanye actually wins, on the very off chance that it actually happens. Like, what then? Because he's so incredibly not equipped to... I'm trying not to think about it, because again, unless he drops out, we're just fucked as a country. There's nothing we can do about it. Trump will get another 4 years, and then we're just going to drive our country further into the ground, and eventually we'll experience World War III, or maybe climate change will finally wipe us all off the planet, but eventually we are all going to die.
Yeah, I mean, even with what's going on right now, like he might even, like, just having Trump in office is, opening up potential for American dictatorship. I can imagine him saying, actually, I didn't really get my 4 years, because of COVID. Just ruined everything. I'm the greatest president ever. I have such great ideas. And
this is funny.
I really deserve another term, another 2 terms. Because I really didn't get my term that I got, at all.
I mean, I don't want to say Kim Kardashian as the first lady would be better than Melania Trump, but like at least Kim's trying to get motherfuckers out of prison. Like, as sad as that is, we live in a world where Kim Kardashian would be a better first lady than.
I'm not.
This is the bizarre world. We live in the worst timeline
Scotland
ever. We rolled the dice and got a 6.
I ain't a 6. It's a nat 1, bro. Like this is the worst possible thing. Like it's
man.
There was a TikTok yesterday that I thought about you. It was like some players in D&D are Dudley from Harry Potter. They're like, how many are there? And the DM's like 36. I counted them myself. 36. It's like that's how bad this feels. We're like it's like Jasmine's the DM and she turned the page and the shit just kept getting worse. Like that's how this feels.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't think Jasmine.
I want to talk to whoever outlines 2020 because it's just not good, bro.
It's garbage.
It's
trash.
Like
we're over halfway through the year, and it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah. No.
And I know we're clowning, but like in general, I feel like we all can agree on the statement of Kanye being president is a bad vibe. I don't like it.
It's not even Kanye running for president, Kanye announcing that he's running for president, Kanye being president, Kanye in general is just a bad.
For us to even be having this conversation to be serious. Right. No, yeah. This is the worst. For us to even for it to be a serious consideration that it could happen. And I think, definitely Trump's win has opened up the possibility for all the terrible people in the world to think that they could be president. And here we are.
Yep. I think we should just burn everything down and start over.
I agree.
I'm not saying for the purposes of like not being arrested, but also if Trump gets another term, I may or may not study the art of assassination. It's fine.
Oh, and back to
Did you hear that, FBI agent?
I ain't scared of you, bitches.
I agree with Jasmine's option.
Listen, I'm not saying, listen, am I saying that I endorse murder? No, I'm not saying that, but I'm also not saying that.
I mean, listen, like, I'm not saying I agree with Jasmine's pitch here, but nothing is true. Everything's permitted. We are assassins. We live by our creed. But like, that's my joke for that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm. Who are these people? Who am I?
Oh my god!
I think I have wandered into the wrong room. I don't know what happened.
You wandered into the wrong.
You will get pulled to the side like Talib Kweli. You teach people, you have influence.
Did we talk about the whole community episode with the blackface getting pulled? Did we address that?
No.
Did we address that? I don't know if we did.
I don't think we did. There's a lot of shit.
Like I had like a 2-day argument in a Facebook group about with like it was a D&D beginners Facebook group where all these white dudes were trying to defend the Asian dude from Community. I forget his name. Where he had like the drow blackface on during the Community D&D episode. And I'm just like, I'm not saying.
Oh,
Kim Jong. Thank you. And I'm not saying that I agree with the use of like that dark ass makeup.
No.
And frankly, I don't care that they pulled it. But like, y'all getting this mad about them doing this is funny. But also, this is what we're doing when we have more pressing problems. Like, like good for you, but like,
It's like what some people are saying about, we're painting Black Lives Matter on streets and we're tearing down statues, but qualified immunity, that's still a thing. We're not defunding the police. We're not doing that. We're not,
like.
I read that there was like it was a sandwich shop. I forget the name of the sandwich shop, but they changed their BLT to the BLT.
Oh my god. Does that mean you just called like all black people pork, lettuce, and tomato?
Yeah. I don't care what it is. It doesn't legislate or put Breonna Taylor's murderers in jail.
And then, like, shit, did you see, speaking of painting shit, did you see about the random white couple that took it upon themselves to, like, bring black paint to the road sign for Black Lives Matter? And they're like, oh, it's all leftist propaganda, racism isn't real. I was like, oh my god.
The people who say racism isn't real always make me laugh. Just because it's like, where have you been your whole life? Where were you?
Shit.
Like all of
had that argument with somebody once.
Oh no, see, I was dying because I was on Twitter, what was it, yesterday or the day before last, and there was this crazy ass post on Pink News where this random British professor was like, slavery wasn't real because we still have so many damn blacks. And I was like, wait a minute, what?
What? I don't. Did anyone like do violence against this person?
Like I'm still dumbfounded by like the audacity of people. Like I just people are terrible, and it's funny that how
there are very educated people that are terrible too. Y'all know I work at a university, and the things that I hear from students about what they encounter in the classroom from their peers, but even worse from their professors, it's really wild. I had a student come to my office once because a faculty member who was teaching this white, wasn't even really a professor, it was a grad student, who was teaching a history of art and visual culture class about Black art, about African art, and somehow the conversation went to slavery, and it was like the professor said, well, like there's no innocent person in slavery, there were some people that sold some people, and some. I was like, what? No, that doesn't work like that. How about the people that were sold beyond their will? So they just chose to, be sold across the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, that's not a slavery choice.
What kind of shit is that? What goes on in your fucked mind?
I put the article in the comments.
The worst
about dude, but
the worst.
Oh shit.
Yeah, people suck.
Like, is their perception of reality a fucking Mel Brooks movie? Like, what the fuck is happening with these people? I don't understand. Like, do they just, see Roots and imagine the people going, I'm gonna go get with some white women? And it's like, that's not how the fuck it happened. There are, I was so mad.
I can't. And, we can just throw all these idiots in Azkaban. Oh, look at that segue. So... y'all.
Speaking of hateful motherfuckers.
That's the one. That's the one.
Anyway,
you fucking pushed the subject down.
I'm so proud of myself for that one.
That's so
I fucking bet you are.
So, if you haven't been paying attention to Twitter for the past few weeks, more like months, more like years, because this has been an ongoing thread, but it's finally reached a climax this past few weeks. So, JK Rowling. You wouldn't think that we could talk about this, but you know what? Joan herself has a very problematic issue with bringing Black people to the forefront of the Harry Potter series. So I feel a need to address this, not only as a Black person, but as a gay person. And and since we have, let's see, let me do a count here. Half of the entire audience, not the entire audience, half of the cast is part of the LGBT community. I feel it upon myself to address this. So, Joan has decided to take it upon herself to continuously say that because trans people do not have their biological parts, they are not that gender. And she has constantly been about this. Whenever she's been called a TERF, she fights back, which TERF is a term for women who stand on the ground that trans people don't exist. And it's been a constant battle. It's been like they stand for feminism, but they don't believe in trans feminism. But in general, it's been a constant thing that we've been having to deal with for a long time. But Joan herself isn't a what's the word I'm looking for? A good person, but also she isn't a new fan when it comes to depicting minorities in a bad light. And you would think, as somebody who constantly refers to magical creatures as half-breeds in her books, you and treats those who call them half-breeds like crazy people, like Umbridge. You would think she'd have some decency when it comes to people. Granted, she totally condoned having a Black Hermione in the stage play. But I distinctly remember Dean Thomas being the only person to be specifically pointed out to be Black. Well, specifically Dean and Kingsley, because they were both pointed out to be, in Dean's case, a Black boy, and in Kingsley's case, a dark man, specifically those 2 times. But in general, it bothers me that Joan is allowed to keep existing in the forefront of nerd media for this long, and it took so many people up until the past couple weeks to finally get tired of her shit. And a lot of people are throwing Harry Potter books away, burning them, being done with her shit. And I don't want to say this is one of them times where we need to like separate the art from the artist, but
you can't
say what?
You can't. It came from the heart of the artist. And if the
can't.
heart is shit, then the artist shit.
Yeah.
It is soaked. It's the entire series is soaked in anti-LGBT crap. You literally cannot separate it because it's everywhere in the book series.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give some examples for the good people?
I understand.
Because I don't think some people would understand what we talk about. Because
let me pull this up. Hold up. I have.
You have receipts.
She's like, you picked the right one because I'm with the shit.
I mean, no, because like, let me be clear. I'm a Potterhead. I grew up on this shit. Like, I have all 7 books on audiobook. I have my Gryffindor Quidditch hoodie in my closet. Like, I rep this shit. Like, I've done this since day one. But like, I cannot stand the way Joan has behaved herself. Like,
does that K stand for Karen? Is that what that stands for?
God damn.
Got him.
But it's like, I mean, like, look, this isn't the only thing. We have, like, the case of Lavender Brown being recast from a black girl to a white girl because of Half-Blood Prince. We have the case of the discrimination that went on with Black Hermione. We have Dean being the only black kid at the damn school, except for the movies. Like, there are other things that are into account of JK Rowling just not caring about minorities in her books. But it's just her specific comments in conjunction with, like, existing. Because none of these comments have anything to do with the books, from what I can tell. It's just her being a garbage human. Like, unless Jasmine's receipts can point out something else, because I haven't seen anything. I listen to these books on the regular, but it's like, in general, I don't see it, but also you're a shit human.
Hold on. I'm looking. This is far back because it was the first time she pulled out this bullshit. And she's been on some fuck shit the last, like, week, 2 weeks, where she just keeps showing her ugly, and it's like, girl, just shut your mouth. Just shut your mouth and enjoy your fucking
legit.
money. That's like, literally all you had to do.
No, like, dead ass. There's some people, like, I was watching a video where someone was like, bro, you literally have enough money to go buy yourself your own damn Hogwarts castle and live in it. Like, you don't have to bother anybody. You don't need to be on social media anymore. You can go away and live your life. But she insists on being in the public eye, keeping herself relevant. And it's like, honey, just go. You can have your opinion. But, like, she wrote this giant article about why she believes the way she is.
And people have been using it. People have been using it to justify their own transphobia. Yeah. Not only their own transphobia, but like to push like bills being passed that would harm trans people. And it's like her voice and her platform is so huge, and people take so much stock in it that she is affecting trans kids, not just in the UK, but around the whole fucking world, because her voice is so loud and reaches so many people, and it's so incredibly cruel and not just an opinion. And I just can't sit here and not be furious that she's just.
And meanwhile, we live in a world where constantly, like we just saw this week, more reports of black trans women being killed because of idiot, like, racists and transphobes. Literally. We have a constant problem in the black community, but also in general, of people attacking black trans women. And it is out of control. Like,
I saw a speech from Billy Porter pretty recently that I think put it into perspective. What he was saying is, if we can't stop black trans people from being killed, black lives really haven't started to matter yet. was like it was like a big 10-minute round. Was going at it. He went in.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
I'm at my breaking point because it's like I got my butterbeer mug, my Lupin wand because like I love these books, but I'm able to acknowledge the problems within it. And if I could go back and just bonk her on the head, like put more black people in this book, stop being a transphobe, take care of people, like it would fix everything. But in general, it's like, honey, just go away. That's how I feel this point. Andre, do you want to throw your 2 cents in? Because you've been very quiet.
Someone just needs to go buy a fucking island and just go live in a forest.
Yeah, I'm done with people right now.
So this is the bottom line. Everything's already been said. Like, what else is there to say? She's a garbage human. I also have loved these books since I was a child. My aunt got every single one of them for me at some birthday or another. I got fucking Gryffindor pajamas for Christmas. Like, I've actually just stopped reading these books altogether. Not necessarily because of her, but I just don't read anymore. But god damn, she makes it so hard to be a Potterhead.
Yeah.
Live in a forest, goddammit. Get sucked by Dementors, you dumbass.
Yeah, I can't find it now, but I had retweeted a thread that someone did of all of the times that she like made fun of like for instance, what's her name? The Rita Skeeter or something like that. Yeah, she had pointed out all of her like manly-ish features and how that made her ugly. And there are other things. That was the one that really jumped out at me though, because yeah, it's not just that. It's like I said, it's like soaked in it. It's about like I guess like you can't, like men quote can't boys can't get into the girls' dorm.
That's so true. There's that whole thing. I was just listening to Order of the Phoenix this weekend. There's that whole scene where Harry and Ron trying to go up to get Hermione like she always does to them and to the boys' dorm, where they try to go up to the girls' dorm and the whole staircase just collapsed like a damn Rugrat slide. Like,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and how I think if I can find it, I'll retweet it for you guys. But I remember it started out with like pointing out that at one point, I think in the last book or one of the later books, Hermione had like, forgive me, I don't know the terms because I haven't watched the series and I haven't read it, but she like polymorphed herself into Harry. And though she had Harry's body, it was very obvious that it was still Hermione in there, and how that like parallels being trans, and somehow doesn't compute with this.
I would have to go back and grab my copy of Deathly Hallows because I don't remember how that would be phrased, because the context for that scene was like 5-6 characters in the book transformed into Harry with Polyjuice Potion because they needed to get him to safety by all being Harry and diverting the Death Eaters. So I'd have...
No, yeah, which makes total sense. Makes total amount of sense. But like, I mean, she was in a male body and still was considered female, and that is what we were talking about. Is that somehow that, for some strange reason, does not sink into what's her face's. I'm sorry, I don't like her. So it doesn't sink into her brain that that's okay, that you can have what are considered male genitals and still be female.
I'll say like
don't even get started on it, because I grew up with Percy Jackson and Rick Riordan, and I don't want to say that was a better experience, because while it started off very cis white heteronormative, it got way better because that author actually listens to his readers and applies it to his. So
you're not wrong.
I was blessed in that aspect.
I'm about to say, like I was telling
Well, I was just gonna say, like, there's a very prominent gender fluid character in the Magnus Chase series, and it was like the first time I'd ever seen anything mainstream feature anyone who was genderqueer. That was a shock to me. So while, like, you know, like, there were other queer characters in the, like, romantic sense, or the sexual sense, having or seeing someone who was genderqueer and specifically use different sets of pronouns depending on what she or he was feeling that day is very cool. It was cool for me. And yeah, so when you have someone like that and like the millions of other own voices books out there that you could be reading that does not feature turfy bullshit from JK Rowling, why would you read those books?
God damn.
You are on fire tonight.
And I know her name is pronounced Rowling. I don't
Rowling. It doesn't freaking matter.
Rowling.
Anyway.
Who
What
cares?
is she a dumbass?
Her name is Karen.
Why should we
Yeah.
respect
Yeah.
her identity?
Ooh,
Just
that was
saying.
good, Travis. That was good. Okay.
Real shit. Why should we respect her identity?
Yeah. If she ain't gonna respect other people's identity,
That's
why would
none.
we even fuck with it? But so we've dealt with gay fishes and dumb turfs this evening.
Gay fishes.
Amen. I feel as if we should have a more constructive conversation to end the evening. So, what was it? July 3rd, right before Independence Day, we saw the release of the musical Hamilton on Disney Plus. After it was originally supposed to be coming out in 2021, they thought they released it as a way to like help people cope with quarantine. And Lin-Manuel Miranda was like, "Here, I've worked it out with Disney. Here's this thing we filmed in 2016. Like, have fun." I was camping, and
Maybe get me started on it being released by Disney.
we don't talk about it all. Don't worry, because there's the tail end of the argument will circle back to Disney and the Princess and the Frog things. I was gonna get to there, but in general, I was camping this weekend, and Travis decided to bring something to the forefront of the conversation in the Discord. So I thought we would let him have the floor to lead this discussion. So Travis, let's talk about it.
I guess like it's generally a good production, I would say. But my problem was the the Schuyler family, whatever the fuck they are, the Schuyler family. Historically speaking, they were one of the most brutal slave-owning families of that time, and so to see them as black people, all happy-go-lucky and generally nice people, kind of put me off. To say, like, I normally love Lin-Manuel's work, so I'm not going to take away everything he's done for this. But to me, it kind of felt like a real on-the-nose, how do I say it? Like, black-facing with Eurocentric history.
Valid. Now, I want to point out, for those who haven't seen it, if somehow you haven't seen the existence of Hamilton in the public eye for the past, 5 years, Hamilton is the story of Alexander Hamilton. He existed in the early colonial era. Lin-Manuel Miranda took it upon himself to go out of his way and create this musical about his life, but also making a point with the musical to purposely bring to the forefront people of color. Literally almost everybody in the cast is a person of color. So he went out of his way to do this and create this. And yes, there is a lot of historical inaccuracies. I swear to God, I saw this dumbass post on Twitter where someone was like, when you're watching Hamilton this weekend, make sure that you realize there are many historical accuracies. None of these songs happened. Yada yada yada. And I'm like, you dumbass motherfucker! Of course, George Washington with his sexy bald ass wasn't up there with his sword.
You know Hamilton didn't have bars like that, right? Like you know you have.
Watch this ugly ass wasn't pulling out his sword, like just bang and go, like he was spitting, like you know.
What?
Shout out to Christopher Jackson. Love
You
of my
know,
life.
Thomas Jefferson wasn't pulling up like, what did I miss? Like, you know, like so, like David Diggs is like my crush for all of days. But like in general, you know that half the people in everyone in this production was not the color of their skin they were. And Travis makes up a great point. There are many people like Thomas Jefferson, like George Washington, that were slave owners. Schuyler family, prominent slave owners in history. But for my biggest point when it comes to the discussion is I think the intent outweighs like a lot of what's like a lot of this, because not only did Miranda go out of his way to make sure that people of color were put to the forefront here, where you have like black men playing both French characters, white characters. You have Anthony Ramos purposely playing a character who tries to end slavery during colonial times. Like, there was work put into the forefront there. So that's my 2 cents on it. Aaron, I know you had some concerns.
Yeah, I'm not a big theater person, so take whatever I say with the most minute of grains of salt. But it wasn't bad, but folks that have been raving about it, it's just weird to think of these slaveholders and people that weren't too kind to my ancestors being away. And I know that there's creative license here, and there's some intentionality with the hiring of folks and kind of giving space to folks of color that usually wouldn't be given the same kind of space in theater. I appreciate that.
Theater's notoriously
anti-black.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But it's just, it's just weird. It was just weird to watch, like, because I try to immerse myself, right? Like get into the story, but I just could not imagine, the George Washington looking like old boy from the game. It just did not compute for me. Like, there are parts of it that just didn't compute for me. So, but yeah, that's essentially where I sit. I don't know old dude's name, but he looked just like that dude. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
Christopher Jackson.
Love of my life. His voice is like
yes, it is.
It's
like he was one of the tallest people in the cast. He's towering over you.
Yeah.
Just like, yes, daddy. Like, oh my god. Like, I can't.
This nigga said yes, daddy.
No, please. We're erasing that.
I staying in.
Editing that out.
It's staying in. I don't care. But like, just in general, it's like literally, you look at that musical, and the only person of white Caucasianism I could see is the King of England, King George.
Jonathan Groff.
Jonathan Groff.
Like yes, he did spit while he was speaking, but like, who cares? Like, he was the.
I thought I was the only one that noticed that.
No,
I was like, "Come on, bro, keep it in your mouth, bro."
He was so petty with it too.
See,
like,
and I even say, like, I would literally, I would have handed up more as someone who grew up in theater. If I'd have played King George, I'd have pulled like Queen of Hearts from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. I'd have been pushing motherfuckers over. Like, I'd have been like, "Here, kick you over. You don't exist. I'm the king." Yada yada. Like, it'd been that kind of thing.
Cause King George was crazy. Like, he was like real life crazy. Dealing with porphyria and all that good stuff. But like, he was crazy. I thought he was gonna be a little bit more crazy.
Really super not. So. No, I thought that for what they did, especially since he was in that heavy ass cloak, I think that they did a lot considering he did almost nothing. So I was very fond of that performance, even though King George can suck it.
Andre.
Go
ahead,
as a musical, sorry, I am a theater nerd, so I can speak on this. As a musical, I'm not gonna sit here and say it's my favorite because it's not. But the music's really good. The theme of it's really good. I mean, yeah, even like the I guess okay. So from what I'm gathering, is everyone's issue is the historical romanticizing of the birth of the American nation. I saw someone point out that like there was like no mentioning of the colonialism that went into it, which is also a huge thing because you can't birth a new nation, especially when there are already fucking people here. So I get it. I also my issues is that like I recognize that this is historical fiction and that it's a reimagining, less so a depiction. And I think that was really what Miranda was trying to emphasize especially when he put forth the cast that he did, because if you are going with the connotations that, like, for instance, the Schuyler family was full of Black people or Asians in Philippa Sue's case, then that it doesn't erase the fact that they own slaves. Because here's the other thing: is like if he wanted to erase like anyone, if you want, okay, how do I say this? As a writer, you have two options when you're approaching historical fiction. You can acknowledge all of the bullshit that was going on at the time, or you can erase it and just pretend that it never happened. And this is your world and it's your fiction. And if it doesn't exist in your world, then that's how it is. However, the problem is that he had Lauren specifically trying to free slaves. And so he established the existence of slaves in his world and then didn't mention it again. So I understand the frustration there. And I think that all the criticisms are valid, and that we need to have solid conversations about this, because otherwise, like, how else are you going to grow, to learn and grow from this? That said, I love the musical so much, it saved my life. I was in a very dark place when it came out, and I listened to the soundtrack, and it gave me a reason to stay. And so I'm very, very fond of it. And I think if you remove the negative connotations, the theme of the musical is very inspiring and something that we need right now. That said, being able to remove yourself from the connotations is a huge privilege. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that like it's not problematic that someone who is essentially not Black propped up all of these things that came from Black culture, all of the people of color, the Black people of color, especially in the cast, and then also making a musical that revolves around rapping is both, it can be exploitive, despite the fact that I know that he didn't mean it that way. I know this dude is a really sweet, genuine, kind dude. That doesn't mean he doesn't benefit from his privilege, which he does. I think that he uses it as best that he can, but no one's perfect. And I think that we need to acknowledge that you can enjoy a thing and still understand the criticisms that go into it, and be able to criticize a thing that you enjoy and still be able to enjoy it. And that's pretty much where I'm sitting right now. I really do enjoy the musical. I thought it was very well executed. Being able to see it was a treasure too. Oh, that's the other thing. Him having the balls to do this is kind of incredible. And if Hamilton had not gotten as big as it did, I don't think he would have had the leverage to do it. But every Broadway musical is professionally filmed, and then that footage gets locked away and it's like never seen again. It's professionally filmed as for marketing purposes, but the whole thing is filmed, and we just don't get to see it, which it makes theater incredibly inaccessible. And I think that this is a good first step to breaking down that barrier. So I think I have mixed feelings about it. Because I really hate that it came through Disney. Disney Plus, especially, where I saw that you can't watch it even if you get a free trial. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But also, yeah,
It's dumb.
I hate capitalism. But also, yeah, I am pleased because I think that this will help. I think with the pandemic shutting down Broadway, and so people like releasing that footage that they do have, and then with this, and then with this Hamilton thing coming out, I think that people are realizing that you can see, because this was filmed with the original Broadway cast 5 years ago. I think that you can see now that they have the footage of it. They just don't want to release it for some reason, which is fucking cruel, because not everyone can make it to the theater, and not everyone has thousands of dollars to see it on Broadway. So, yeah, I've had my opinions of that for a really, really, really long time now. And I'm just going to flat out say it. I don't care that people upload bootlegs to YouTube. I've actually seen the first half of Hamilton due to bootlegs because it's been uploaded to YouTube. And I don't give a shit because capitalism is evil.
And like, that's one of the few times where I will say piracy is allowed. I will still sit on my soapbox and say, F you DC Comics for not putting milestone books on DC Universe, or at least allowing them to be put on Comixology for people to enjoy, because that's black creators you're silencing, and it's annoying. There are tons of things that are just not allowed. In general, when it comes to this musical, there's so many inaccuracies to history, but in general, it has helped a lot of. But this sounds so dumb, but like, it's kind of normalized rap finally for white people, like more than it. Like I hate that that's a thing, but like we'd already kind of gotten some with like the other like white rappers and shit back in the day, but like you finally hit that one stride of like musical theater that has like was there that we needed to like smack in the face, and Miranda fixed it and like said, hey, we can have rap in a musical and it'd be impactful.
That's true. Six came out. I don't know if you know what Six the musical is, but Six also incorporates rap into the soundtrack, which I thought was really cool because Miranda did that somewhat. He like dabbled in it with In the Heights, and then with some of his other musicals as well, obviously, because that's just kind of his like staple. But I see what you're saying. His rap style is very unique.
Yeah.
Very uniquely, I don't want to say like, I don't know how to say it.
Lynn's rap style?
Yeah.
It's very New York. It's very New York.
Okay, there you go.
It works inside of theater, but I don't know if.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it doesn't. Yeah. It's not necessarily. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It doesn't sound very. It's not very mainstream, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess
it only works when Nas is on the track.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm saying. It's like more.
I appreciate that.
Palatable, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Easier. There we go. Maybe it's easier for white people to ingest.
I think that was probably my favorite part of it, was that like in the soundtrack, like in the I Wrote My Way Out, I don't remember seeing it in the play itself, but he does a song with Nas, Dave East, one other person, and himself. And just for those who like aren't very into hip hop, to be introduced to Nas that way is, I think, pretty uplifting for him to be talking about Hamilton and his experience in Queens at the same time. Is something that isn't seen in hip hop anymore. So I guess that was pretty cool. He brought things back to boom bap for a second, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And like I can't even imagine, because like in Jasmine and I can speak from experience where like you learning your lines for a theatrical production is already a challenge. But for in some cases like David Diggs and other people who had to play dual characters who rap and speak, it's like that has to be some of the most challenging work they've ever done.
Honestly, the way that David's career took off after this, it's so well deserved because I had no idea he was so dynamic as a performer, but definitely the like, how do I say this? The contrast between Lafayette and Jefferson is so palpable and fascinating, and it's just been really cool to watch him in other things.
Hell, he's blowing up right now because of his Donald Trump as a white supremacist track with his group Clipping is just.
He is, though.
It's so deserved. I love him.
Like just in general. So, Andre, would you like to have any final thoughts on this? Because I know everyone's gonna say their piece, but I want to make sure that you have to speak your mind on that.
I'm with Jasmine. That was my first time watching it. I'm also a theater person. So just to actually see it, it was kind of like, oh snap! All right, this is good. I feel sad for Andrew. What's his name? Ramos, who played
Anthony.
Anthony Ramos, who played the dual roles of his son and one of his friends. He had to die twice. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, it was fucked up. That was really sad.
You have to die twice in the same play. Like, dang. I'll acknowledge that obviously that's historical inaccuracies, but I feel like because of this, it will probably make people want to read into those types of things just to see like what it's actually based off of, just not just go off of it at face value. Which is actually what I started to do, just to start reading more about it. But overall, I thought it was a great production, a great soundtrack, and take everything that you see on screen with a grain of salt, because obviously not everything is true. Basically it.
Fair enough. All right. That's where we're going to go ahead and wrap it up today, folks. Don't forget that you can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, YouTube, all those great things. We should be on Pandora soon. We should be on iHeartRadio now if you choose to use that platform. You follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Blerd Grounds. You can check out the website on Comics Ground on Twitter and Instagram at On Comics Ground. And that's where we're gonna wrap it up.
So funny story. Apparently, I don't need to use
what?
What?
I muted it.
Who did? Okay. I'm good.
Oh, okay.
We are on iHeartRadio.
I totally sidetracked there. Aaron, what would you like to say as your closing statement for this episode of Blerd Grounds?
I have been both dreading and enjoying the news because the world's falling apart, but at least we can laugh a bit through it. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Fair enough.
May not have been expected that.
No,
but
it worked.
It
worked. Travis, what was your closing statement for this episode of Blerd Grounds?
I got one that's kind of a shout out to. I just got this message from a really old friend of mine that I grew up with, and it's like a symbol of hope of the extremely color redacted area that I grow up in. Fucking, he's in Atlanta, and he just sent me this. He says, "I'm fucking sick, bro. I woke up a couple months ago and came to a realization. Turning 28 this year, we've only been adults for a whole decade. I woke up this morning and realized that in the decade that I've been adult, nothing has gotten better. Not a single fucking thing has gotten better for any oppressed groups in this country. Honestly, it has probably gotten worse. I came to this realization, bro, and it made me feel fucking sick. It made me sick because I know that people like me didn't speak the fuck up and do something. This has gotten worse. That due to this continued inaction, acceptance, and tolerance of these scumbag racist fucks, innocent people are being murdered by racists. And if I had spent the past 10 years of my adulthood standing up for what I believe in and confronting racism when I encountered it, maybe things would have been better."
Wow.
Yeah. Big shout out, Ike. Fucking, I love you, bro.
Wow. That was powerful. All right.
Yeah.
Andre, what would you like to have your closing statement be for this episode of Blerd Grounds? I'm a little shell-shocked after that. Wow.
And I have to go after that. Be kind, wear a mask, and if you don't want to wear a mask, stay the fuck inside.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a point to make after in a second. Jasmine, what would you like your closing statement to be for this episode of Blerd Grounds? That's
Stop killing black trans people. Cancel JK Rowling.
And
Arrest the
RuPaul.
cops who killed Breonna Taylor.
I'm so confused.
I'm also
What is RuPaul
confused,
doing?
but I learned to stop asking questions.
RuPaul been a transphobe.
Yes.
Yeah, that too. That too. Yep, that's it. That's
We
all I
Blerd
got.
Grounds. We come for everybody.
Yeah.
You ain't safe.
Goddamn. My closing statement, as always, is take care of yourselves. Shout out to the crazy white woman at the Target who decided to take it upon herself to record herself tearing down an entire stand where they had face masks and saying, I'm not gonna have none of this shit, and like running over it with a cart and then almost assaulting a manager. Like, shout out to you, Karen, because you was wrong with the world right now.
She
Nancy got arrested. Yeah. Arrest the motherfucker.
Good.
She said she worked for Trump.
Yeah, she said she worked for Trump. I'm gonna have to send the video in the Discord.
No, I'm good. I don't need that.
No,
if I want to see Karen's acting a fool, I'll just go to work.
Preach. Also, please do not vote for the gay fish. And Joan, I used to love you endearingly. I used to love you for the books that you created for a whole generation. I still have a deep love for the books, but I don't have a love for you anymore. And that's where I'm gonna end that one. I may be a Gryffindor Quidditch captain, but I refuse to be on your team anymore.
Are you really a Gryffindor?
Yeah, I've taken the quiz like 6 times, and I'm one of the few people that I can actually say I am a Gryffindor. I'm proud of that.
Yeah.
I wanted Ravenclaw, but they gave me Gryffindor because apparently I care too much for my home.
Of course, bitch, you're one of the most noble people I know. The fuck?
Yeah.
I wanted Ravenclaw.
Of course, Aaron's the Ravenclaw.
You're just it's fine. You're just
Ravenclaw?
the brightest version of your age.
Aaron bleeds the blue. Aaron bleeds the blue.
Yikes.
I need like an animation, like a little chibi, like just yelling Ravenclaw, and like having the black power fist, like just like Ravenclaw.
Although I will say out loud that my Patronus is a dragon.
That's fucking cool.
All right, folks, we will catch you next time right here at Blerd Grounds. Peace out. I cannot spell. Craig, I hate you. I love you. Leave.
Yeah, same. No.